Africa's DNA used to travel even more than Africans. Shipped abroad, sequenced abroad, patented abroad, and the medicine returned with a markup big enough to need its own visa. But today, the era is over. Picture this: a scientist in Lagos feeding a genome sequencer that looks like a printer from the future. A research team in Kigali running AI models that predict diseases before symptoms even show. A data hub in Cape Town decoding HIV-resistance patterns faster than global labs. This isn't science fiction. It's Africa decoding itself. Because the new frontier, it isn't land, it isn't oil, it isn't even data. It's genetic independence. This continent isn't waiting for prescriptions, it's writing them. Let's check it out.
Who, of course, is a board member of Aditas Pharmaceuticals. Thank you so much for talking to Arise News. I wanted to get your thoughts on this signing ceremony today and what it means for the company and for pharmaceuticals, I guess, in Kenya or for the wider African region.
Thank you very much. I think that the COVID taught us a very important lesson in Africa, that you cannot run a health sector that's relying on importation of everything, from equipment to pharmaceuticals to even training of human resource. So self-sufficiency for Africa is important. The pharmaceutical sector is particularly important because the approach to universal health care intends to address three things: access to health care, quality of that health care, and affordability of health care. Pharmaceuticals are an important and key area of the cost of health care. So when you import them, they're even more costly. So the journey that we are taking here is to not only address local production in terms of access, but also in terms of affordability and in terms of quality. Right now, 50% of the medicines that we use in Africa are not of the best quality. And I'm being very polite here. And that's because we rely on different agencies importing. And where they come from, we don't know how they are made, neither can anybody guarantee that they're the quality that's there. And the only reason we've done that is that we don't have enough manufacturing capacity. For this particular company, Aditas, their venture into the heart of Africa, because this factory is going to be placed, location is on Lake Victoria, which is right on the equator, which is right in the middle of Africa. But even more interesting, it's in the middle of East Africa. And East Africa now strides from the Indian Ocean to the Atlantic Ocean, because DRC Congo is now part of East Africa, with a population of 500 million Africans. So we are moving into the heart of Africa. And we are also moving into a secondary city. Most firms that produce anything in Africa are in the capital city. So this is the first time that we are going into a secondary city, right in the heart of the continent. We are not going to any big name city, but we are looking at reaching to where medicine doesn't reach before.
Guys, so for decades, Africa's genetic research has been outsourced, conveniently studied abroad, inconveniently returned at luxury prices. But now the lab coats have switched continents, right? So there's a new set of genome guardians. An example of these are H3 Africa. It's a human hereditary and health in Africa organization. 500 plus African scientists mapping how genetics and environment shape the continent's health. From sickle cell genome mapping across Ghana, Kenya, and Tanzania to Nigeria's 54 gene, the first commercial African biobank, now holding 300,000 plus DNA samples, referencing Genome's global pharma as never had before. Rwanda's Biomedical Center, or RBC, the national genomic screening for cancers, hereditary diseases, and early heart failure predictions. Kigali's sequencing hub is engineered locally. South Africa's SAMRC Genomics Center, world leader in HIV drug resistance research and cancer mutation profiling. Discoveries in South African women have reshaped global treatment standards, right? So across Burkina Faso, mosquito gene drive projects aim to eliminate malaria. Across Somalia, diaspora-backed labs are digitizing health records for the first time. This isn't aid, this is a flex, right? We keep flexing on them, getting bigger, badder, and more improved. So let's look into it. Most often, people would say genomics is too complex, too expensive for Africa. But the truth is, it used to cost 100 million to sequence a genome. Today, under $500. And African labs are doing it in-house, no London layovers. So bioinformatics hubs in Kenya, Tunisia, Nigeria, and South Africa train data scientists locally. Students who once needed visas to teach the work, right? So let's look into it. When you own your own data, you own your own diagnosis, your treatment, your research, your patents, and your narrative, right? So health independence begins at the cellular level. So we're redefining the race. So the results, they're loud. Let's check them out. Sickle cell research, Ghana and Nigeria. Genome-informed trials are building therapies tailored for African patients by Africans. Not imported guesswork, right? HIV-resistance mapping in South Africa. Their studies have helped rewrite global HIV guidelines. When Africa leads, the world follows, right? Cancer genomics in Egypt. So scientists have discovered mutation patterns unique to African women, unlocking early screening models the world has never seen before. In Somalia, there's a health data renaissance. So diaspora-funded labs in Mogadishu and Hargeisa are digitizing patient histories for the first time, right? Cloud-based medical records with biometric tracking. In Burkina Faso, the gene drive for malaria is not imported. It's engineered locally by Burkinabe people. So the numbers that have been hit in different areas are 700 plus African-led genetic studies. 20 plus national labs can sequence full genomes. 150 million plus raised for African genomic startups, right? And you know it's serious when African scientists say, don't worry, we'll bring the results and the receipts. So when African genomes guide the medicine, success goes up, side effects go down, and life expectancy increases for one of the world's youngest populated continents. Governments are finally waking up. The African Union's Health Strategy 2040 calls for continental biobanks, precision medicine programs, local vaccine manufacturing, and Pan-African genomic databases. Africa's CDC's Pathogen Genomics Institute now links labs from Dakar to Addis, tracking mutations in real time. Africa's CDC Pathogens Genomics, we just went over that one. Ebola variants are detected very early, right? COVID mutations identified locally. Mpox strains analyzed and shared continent-wide. Private partners are now moving to 54 gene scaling drug discoveries. Illumina investing in African sequencing hubs. Rwanda Innovation Fund backing biotech startups. So Africa isn't testing the ground. Africa is the entire lab. If momentum continues by the year 2035, Africa could engineer its own precision medicine. A sickle cell cure from West Africa, a malaria vaccine perfected in East Africa, a cancer therapy designed in West Africa, a digital health system built by the Horn of Africa. That's not science fiction, that's the schedule. So the biggest story here isn't the gene, the lab, or the tech. It's the shift in ownership. So for too long, Africa was the world's medical sample. Today, Africa is the world's medical source, as it's always been. When you understand the data, you don't wait for the world to tell you what's wrong. You already know what's possible. Africa isn't proving that it has the power to heal. It's begin with the power of knowing yourself. So we're not waiting for prescriptions. We're writing them. MashaAllah, that's your Africa Insight for today. Please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe because at Mr. Empower TV, we don't chase the headlines. We chase the truth behind them. This is Mr. Empower, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.